Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. It's great to see you all. We're just getting ready for the stream shortly. Hello there, Slack. Nice and early. That's always great to see. Hello there, Solar. How are you doing, my friend? It's great to see everybody. And boy, it is warm here in the UK. It is so very warm. Absolutely impossibly warm right now. So, it does really give me a lot to think about, really. It's like I'm considering the fact that, hey, people had to fight in this heat. It's just crazy. It's raining here in Brighton. Yeah, the weather's been all over, hasn't it? Absolutely all over. Crazy. I just put out a video to announce that I'm doing this video on my own channel, so I'm just going to put the link down there before I forget. There we go. Awesome. Yeah, I can imagine there's going to be storms. There's going to be a lot of storms. It is going to be pretty crazy. There's no way that this heat can go on for so long without storms of magnitude coming. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Okay. When I've got some water ready, I may have to, in the stream, go get some more water, because it is so warm here. It's like 30 degrees plus. It is crazy. So, how is everybody then? How's your week been? Again, we are at a Friday. We had to move the slot over, but you know what? I think that works out fine. I think it's a nice way to begin, you know, the weekend. I like that. Hello there, Pixel. How are you doing, my friend? Not long until the stream starts now. Ah, thank you there, Pixel, that's really appreciated. So, yes, indeed, the final episode. At least for War in the West and this season, I suppose. I think it's probably best to describe it as a season. But yes, this will be the final episode. We will be doing some post-analysis, really, see how things turn out. I'm hoping for a victory. I don't know if we can achieve a victory, but I'm very much hoping so. I don't know how long the final turn could last. I'm hoping that we will have another turn after this end of a full turn, to ideally make or break the Reich in the West. I think we've definitely delivered a killing blow. There's no escape for the German armies in the West from this. It's pretty bad, and that's putting things quite lightly. Genuinely been looking forward to this. Really cannot wait to see what the results are in the end. I'm genuinely hoping that we have a good one. Aye, nearly to Frankfurt. We are not far from Frankfurt. I mean, we take a look at Frankfurt. What do we have in front of us? We have an element of the Volksgrenadier Division, the sort of brigade of the 62nd. We have a brigade of the 5th Volksgrenadier Division, and then something else. So, really, not very much. Though, the greatest thing in the area is the 15th Panzergrenadier Division. And then as well, we have the 17th SS Panzergrenadier Division. I mean, there's a fair bit of force. I mean, we have 2 Panzer Divisions down here to the south. So, the Germans, the Axis, have actually deployed some formidable forces here in what might as well be their final stand. It's going to be great. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how this goes. The AI has been quite tenacious. They were repulsed in their initial assault, in their initial offensive, but they have held on doggedly. They have certainly not made things easy. So I've enjoyed that. So indeed, after the turn is finished, we will go through each of the turns, and we'll look at what we could have done better, and how things could have changed. So how has everyone's day been today then? Are you guys back from work? Are you still working? Or do you work the night shift? I've worked night shifts before. They can be rather interesting. They're not always so terrible. I find them fun at times, but it very much depends. It can get on you pretty quick. But indeed, not long now. It's going to get my pen drawing tool ready. Around a minute ago. Looking forward to this. Mere moments. Can you guys feel the electricity in the air? I'm hoping we have a V-Day here. And hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to what is the final episode of XTRG's challenge, where we have attempted to repulse the Ardennes offensive, which we have been successful in. Though whether we will be ultimately successful in taking our objectives remains to be seen. We shall endeavour to reach them, but many men have been lost, many good men. On both sides here. We have to remember this was very much a human war. Nations are represented on the map, but on the map you don't see the individual. So we always have to try and pay respects and try to envision how this hell might have been for the men fighting in it. But in the meantime, we are to persecute this war to the best of our abilities and bring victory. So, Pixel, which objectives remain? Well, we have to secure Mans, which is not too difficult for us. It might be achieved with a final push, depending on how much we have left in the fuel tank, so to say. We have achieved a good few victories. We still have Kaliv over here in the north, which may fall to the British and Canadian forces. They may be able to take that. We have never been able to advance beyond here, though that may have been me being far too cautious, but the sheer number of forces and their entrenchment really does worry me considerably. Though, in fairness, with the rivers frozen, we probably could have crossed, though I don't want to throw men's lives away unnecessarily. So we'll do what we may. It is rather interesting to consider what we might have been able to do had we advanced into the Netherlands further. Well, you got Major Winters and all his men killed early on, so they probably did not enjoy it. Yes, we've lost quite a few tank crew. In fact, that's a good way for us to start. Let's take a look at our losses in total then, shall we? So we can see here that we have our total losses, obviously of individual elements. And it is rather interesting to see. I mean, we've lost 100 jumbos. We've lost 240 M4 Shermans, 326 M4A1 Shermans, and many, many more tanks, many different ones. It has been quite the meat grinder here, really. But it has been for the Germans as well, for the Axis forces. They have lost a total of 30 King Tigers, 5 normal Tigers, or at least the original Tiger. They have lost 244 Panther Gs, 32 Panther As. Those are some heavy, heavy losses there. Then we have Jagdpanthers. Those are rather impressive. Sturmpanzer Stugs. I love a good Stug. There's a Sturmgewitz. I can't remember if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Good afternoon. Hello there, John. It's nice to see everybody here. Very, very nice. 1-to-1 in troops, 3-to-1 in guns, and 1.3... 1 to 3.5 in tanks, indeed. Yeah, the losses have been rather interesting, to say the very least. I mean, this is it. In personnel losses, it has been roughly similar. We have captured far more Axis soldiery. The numbers disabled have been very high for the Axis, but it's been higher for ourselves. The killed, well, the KIAs has been roughly equal. The amount of guns lost, though, has been very good in our favour. though the amount of armoured fighter vehicles has been dramatically reversed there. Yes, 136 M36s. I know I've got somebody who really loves those bad boys. So let's take a look at this then. We'll start by taking a look at our logistics. This is how you win wars, apparently. So we'll try and make sure we can keep up with that. So now our main points of effort are over here around Essen. I would very much like to enter into the city, and in fairness, there's not much stopping us. If we beat back these forces, they can't stop me. Essen will fall. A major industrial centre of the Reich will be under Allied occupation, and they cannot stop that. It is a great game, absolutely great game. Hello there, Lix. How are you doing, my friend? So let's take a look at this then. Let's take a look at our logistics and figure out where to go from there. So if we take a look at our rail lines, you can see obviously all the red indicates that these rail lines are broken. If we take a look at this with the actual rail lines deployed, well, shown on here with the amount of logistics going through them, we can see in much greater detail. As you can see here that we have this cluster of rail lines that we need to repair and make ready. Especially this one here, that'd be very handy as we could have rail come from Antwerp and from other network nodes. If we can connect these up, that would be very nice to be able to share supply out from these different depots. Over here is a very difficult one. We do have to do something dramatic around that. It's really fun and a really good game. It's slightly hard to get into, but watch some YouTube videos and read the rules. Yeah, that's very true. In fairness, it's like I learned a lot from originally watching gameplay, and then it's one of those where I think if you get stuck in, you really do enjoy it, and I'm really glad I did that. So, this is very much one of those games where I think being a kinesthetic learner, I suppose, might be the best way. You're going to learn it through experience, and there's nothing wrong with being defeated. There's nothing wrong with that. Right then. So let's take a look at how much supply is actually going through here then. So we can see that we have a decent amount of rail usage. Yeah, hardly any here. But it does increase over this line, so that's interesting to see. And over here to the north, yeah, different story. Western Allies rail usage 0. Okay, so the vast majority of our logistics are travelling through this rail line here. How about down this way? 214. So it seems a lot of our logistics are going through this area. That's good to see. So if we take a look at this, sorry. For example, we'll take the 5th Canadian. If we look at the supply details, we can see that they're drawing supply from the depot at Eindhoven. Now Eindhoven is, let's see, where's Eindhoven? Let's turn these units off over here. So Eindhoven is over here, which is rather interesting. So yes, they're drawing supply over from here then. Let's take a look at the actual logistics of that. How much supply MP is that costing? How many movement points? It's only 3 movement points, the range is 5. Okay, that's not too bad at all, actually. Don't have this one, but War of the West will wait until another sale. $79 is a lot for the game. Well, this is it. It is a high investment on the purchase, but at the end of the day, you take a look at the amount of hours you can gain out of these games, and it's very much cost effective. They are superbly made games. There's nothing else comparable. It's beautiful. One of the Pacific Admirals Edition. Truly love that game. I really do want to get that on it. So, let's take a look at it again then. So if we press 8 and I turn units off here, we can see that you do not see the red lines or the white lines. So we have to have the units displayed on here so we can see this. Okay, so we can see that Eindhoven is actually supplying a major part of the Allied effort in the north. We are drawing supplies from the 2 depots down here at Aachen and Maastricht. The one over here, this one I can't pronounce, is supplying a lot of the front, a heck of a lot of the front in all honesty. How much do we actually have here? Right, lots of supplies, but, well, lots of resources, but no supplies. Right, the rail yard is ready to go, which is great news. Okay. Jumped straight into play by email as the allies. That does not sound fun, my friend. Okay. So what we need to do here then is we need to make the logistics network smoother. So let's take our rail engineers over here. Now, we do suffer from the issue of units over here. I could move this force and support our allies down this way, which is a good idea. But I will move that infantry division closer to the front line. That's good. Okay, now we'll advance forward. Repair that rail line. Now I need to cover this one here. This is the one I need to fix above all else. Let's see, can I move this division elsewhere? I'll move it to the rear. Move the rail engineers up. Repair this rail line. Now sadly, can we get through here? We can't, unfortunately. So what we will do is we will move away from the front lines. So you can see here these three rail lines, these three connections will be repaired in the following phase. So that's going to be great. Now what I could do is try to move over here, but sadly I can't. So let's take a look at what we have available. Okay. I need to secure this location if I'm to have effective rail logistical supplies. Which is far easier said than done, actually. Far easier said than done. Though in fairness, I can move these troops closer to the front line, so I will do just that. Okay, there we go. Now, what do you guys think? Do we secure Coblenz with another tank brigade? I mean, this is only a brigade. In fact, this actually is a regiment, I believe. So, not very strong at all, in fact. Probably not even worth that effort of using that fuel. So we could keep them supplied and ready to go. Where is your headquarters? Your headquarters is over here. Okay, we'll put you on top of them. Give you maximum efficiency. Excuse them. Blah. Right, plenty of headquarters here. Let's take a look at them. Make sure they can all function. I think that's a good thing to do. Okay, so we have the first army here. Right, you're overburdened. You're overburdened. You are almost there. What we need to do is we need to move these headquarters closer to the front line. But first of all, we'll do this then. Okay. I could try to repair this rail line. Which is it's doable, actually. I think what we could do then is use these forces in conjunction. So, for example, we'll start with you over here. Move them over there. Now, sadly, they can't fix that one, but what I can do is I can help them over here. So we'll do that, move to the north. That's another one down, another, and one more. There we go, superb. So at least with that, we've actually managed to bring the rail supply much closer to the front line. In the following phase, we need to try to fix these rail lines and ideally connect them. Which would actually give us a nice coverage. I mean, over here, this is a difficult situation. I do need to supply these forces. So let's see what we can do. We need to cover up here, actually. So this is a... It would be nice, but we don't have that luxury sort of scenario. Actually, I need to push through and forwards. If I can take that rail line, I'm going to be in a much stronger position here. Okay, let's make sure that happens. And it's going to cost us blood. Okay, move extra forces there. Let's try and make this happen. Right, air support, they still hold though, which is disappointing. We'll have another go, see if we can try to dislodge them. We are getting a little bit closer. I am losing a lot of armoured fighting vehicles doing this, bear in mind, but the thing is, if I can dislodge them, it's definitely worthwhile. If only they could attack again. Right, I might be able to... Okay. Let's see, do we try to repel the German Panzer Division? Do we try to hurt the 11th Panzer Division? You are thorougher than me when repairing railroads. I'm terrified of leaving my R units at the front. Oh, yeah, I'd like to keep them very close. Historically, the Germans were down to old men and teenagers at this point. Pretty much. Down at the bottom of the barrel. Not that manpower is really ever on the German side to begin with. Okay. that's probably not even worth the effort of throwing them there. What I could do is I could advance a division over here, which is actually probably a much better idea. In fact, yeah, what we'll do then is we'll push this division here. So these two divisions could advance to the north, where they would be of more use, which is actually quite good. If I build up a lot of force in this area, really try to swing them, that could be quite good. Let's see. Volkstrom units. Yeah, and we have the Free French down here to the south, the blue and purple, the light blue and green and American forces. Okay, let's move this unit back here. Now what we will do is we'll move the 80th and the 26th Division up over here. Swing that pendulum further in our favour, ideally. Okay, so let's see here. We do have the 3rd Army. These forces... Right, we need to balance this out. Okay, so I'm going to transfer 2 divisions over to this command over here. 11-11, 11-11. Okay, they're now within supply, but that's not a great situation. Let's see what we have in terms of core commands over this way. I do have that airborne corps, which is attached directly to the 12th US Army Group. I do have further US armor divisions, which is good to see. Right. Okay. How do we plan to use them? That's the question. I would like to use them offensively, but we do need to build them up. So I think what it might be a case of is actually moving them to the front line. Or just behind the front line. Okay, these forces... I'm looking for these core headquarters, and I'm not having much success right now. Okay. Right, this one could support more. Right, here we go. This is what I was looking for. So we have this core which can support extra units, which is fantastic news. So we'll assign you over here. Okay. You, I will move over here to the north. Right. Right, you're controlling a few units of this way. Okay. You're under that call's command. What we'll do then is we'll move you up. Let's see. I'm looking for areas of supply. Koblenz does have some supply, which is nice to see. Bitburg is probably a good idea. We'll move to Bitburg. Okay, move to Bitburg too. I've owned this game for 2 years and I just can't seem to get into it. You know what you need to do? The best thing to do to get into this game is to have an objective in mind, to have a goal. So for example, in this series, our goal has been to repel the Ardennes offensive and to change history, which we've been very lucky in doing so. So the best thing I can say is always have a goal and you can really go from there. It really does make the game a hell of a lot more simple when you know what you're going for. At the end of the day, you have to remember the Allied war planners and just war planners in general. It's like they work very much on an overarching plan, but then they will have to work to the situation. So you need an objective, you need a reason, you need something to strive for. So always remember that, and it will definitely help you out in that fashion. Okay, they're technically in supply. I'm just trying to make this work a little bit smoother. Okay. Let's transfer you to another command. It's already changed headquarters this turn, fair enough. Right, 3rd Cavalry. I'm very tempted to use these cavalry groups to actually advance across the river. The reason being, at least then these forces aren't going to be as opposed, which is quite nice to think about, really. Yes, we will do that. Okay, so they are going to be battered like absolute hell. But it's worthwhile. If they hold that position, or at least discourage the Germans from taking that position, I'd be very happy. Snowballing is a thing in this game. Are there any British or Canadian units in this scenario? Yes, we have British and Canadian armies over here. So the Canadians are the brown with the red, the British are the brown background. We do have these forces over here which are ready to go, so we do need to consider that. Let's take a look at this then. So if we take a look at transport of units, we have 111 and 180. So 118, they're deployed over here. I think I will drop in the following turn. We'll try to link up the offensive. They should be able to handle that force, surely. But we'll see. We'll see. Okay, so what we're going to do then is we're going to try to make sure this rail line is operational. So I got a little bit caught up there. We will have to settle for the time being. So what I'm going to try to do then is actually... And the issue is these... Oh no, the rail line at Koblenz is actually connecting. Okay, superb. Let's work on that then. Let's work with that. Right, that's honestly great news. Okay. Let's move that division there. Right, move to the rear. Okay, superb. Can you make it? Ah, so very close. Okay. So that was very close. Very, very close. XTRG is the best one, the best player. I do not know about that. I don't think I'm very good, but I just think I'm good at making myself look like that. So we have this rail line, which is actually going to be working quite nice. Hello there, Black Mesa. How are you doing, my friends? It's nice to see you again. So yes, this rail line will now be working quite nicely. We're focusing our logistical efforts in this area, which is great news. Okay, all in the north. Yeah, pretty much. I wish I could have made better use of them. It's just, it's difficult. I really am rather uninterested in advancing through these areas. Amsterdam would have been a nice target to take, don't get me wrong. Would have been very, very nice. But it isn't as interesting to me as the other objectives, and I feel we have made great strides, and we will continue to do so. We are trying to shield ourselves down here in the south. We are desperately trying to achieve our objectives down that way. Whether we do or not is something that remains to be seen. But let's see what we can advance further forwards. We need to be in a position to go in the following turn. So I think what we'll do then is we'll have our armor divisions ready to move out. There we go. Make sure they're ready to roll at a moment's notice. Okay, you can hold Koblenz over here in the north. Right, we'll have you attached to a nearby corps headquarters, make sure they're well supplied, because they have very good troops. Okay, you're overburdened. Let's see, so we have the... Right, okay, so you're overburdened, we need to move them. So what we'll do then is we'll go over here, move them to this core. Right, 14, 11. Okay, you can move to this M. Right, redistribute these forces, at least some of the forces. Actually, then again, this will do for the time being. Though... Right, have you changed headquarters? No, there we go, that's fantastic. Hey, someone might know this. One thing I've heard about from time to time is Rommel's memoirs as a source of World War II. The thing is, Rommel was forced to commit suicide in, I think, 1944, so when did he write the memoirs and when did they get published? Good question, good question. If somebody knows about that, that'd be great, great to follow up with. Okay, advance you down this way. Right, we do have these forces as well. What I'm going to do is really build up my armoured forces in this way. But then again, it's always good to keep some armour all over the line to make sure we can exploit. Which is always a good thing to do. Always, 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 always good. Right, let's see. Do we have any depots up here to the north? Can we establish any depots? That'd be a good one. Right, assign form. Okay, so I could assign AA over that way. How about here, a couple lands? No, not right now. Idar Obenstein, I can. Right, initiate priority repairs over here, this rail yard. Okay, let's make sure that this is a priority. There we go. Right, make sure we try to keep our headquarters this way. At least then they will be on sources of supply which we can use. Okay. Right, priority depot. Let's move these headquarters over this way. Right, they're actually underburdened, so what I could do here is, let's see, so we have the core over here to the north. What I could do is I could actually take some forces from the 5th and have them join the 13th. That's probably a good idea. Okay. Let's make it a little bit more uniform. So we'll have the 13th. Okay. Right. Attach you to the 13th command. There we go. Right, that does make things far more simple. Right, attach you to that command. Great news. Okay. Okay, so let's take a look at the amount of supply that's actually reaching these groups. So, the 1st Army is under the command of the 12th US Army Group, and then I think we have, is it the... Right, so this is the 12th. How about these guys? Right, that's the 6th Army, US Army Group. Let's take a look then at the information, shall we? So if we go to our event log, let's deselect all of this, and let's see. Freight is what I'm looking for. If we look for... amount being received, that'd be good. Okay, here we go. So, the 12th and the 6th and the 21st. So, supply needed 864 tons, 504 tons, 2,998 tons. That's a lot, actually. Supply... required... or requested potentially. I can't remember what this actually means. Whoops. That just slipped my mind on that one. We can see here supply lost. Okay. Now we can see the individual armies and what they've received. Oh, right, supply received. Doi. Okay, so the 12th is actually receiving more support than it actually needs, which is actually fantastic. The 6th is not receiving as much supply. The 21st is, they're obviously not receiving anywhere near the amounts of supply they really do need. I suppose that's because obviously the focus is on the Americans at the moment. Yeah, supply received. But that's something we're going to have to live with for the time being. Okay, let's make sure we put these headquarters on actual depots. That'd be greatly handy. Do we have any towns where I can establish a new depot? I have just taken over here, but I can't establish that. Over here, potentially, yes we can. Awesome. It does have a good amount of supply there as well, that's fantastic. So we'll move these headquarters closer to the front line where they can be of much greater use. They're actually able to play a larger part in the battle than with direct support. Okay. Have you changed commands? Okay, you're now under a British unit there. Can you loot supplies from captured territories? You can. You will receive a certain amount of supplies. It's only going to be a small amount, for example, but you will definitely find something. It's basically, let's say, for example, Essen which could have, for I don't know, let's throw a number out there, like 200,000 supply. We might receive, what, 2,000 supply? You receive a small amount, really. Very small amount, as the Germans obviously will be trying to make sure we don't take it. So that's good to know. Right, do we actually change the drop location for these units over here, for this airborne division? Very much tempted to do so. Very much tempted. But I think they could land here and they could cause some damage. Though if we land behind... Though in fairness, do we go now? I think we go now. At least then we can establish ourselves in that position and really see what happens. So I think what we'll do here then is we'll attack this division and weaken it as much as we can. At least then they may be able to do a lot more from the air. Okay, so let's drop. The 13th is ready to go. Right. I'm going to select more fighter bomber escorts. Meteors as well. Wow, that's really cool. Okay. We need to give them a lot of cover. So we have all the fighters that we can. We'll go for it. We lose 28 planes. And the 245th Infantry Division is forced to retreat there. Okay, so that opens up our way quite nicely. The good news is that we will have that point secured, and we've effectively shattered this rail line here. So that's close to the Germans now. If we take a look at this battle, let's see how that went then. Right. 5th US Armoured. Here we go, the 13th US Airborne Division. So they lose 113 troops, but they are forced to retreat. We lose 115 troops, sorry, 113, we lose 115 and a gun. So in reality, we came off very well there, but you can see here the sheer amount of air support was overwhelming. But thankfully we made it through. We did lose a few planes here. It's interesting to see that these vehicles are actually using their machine guns. Right, that's rather cool to see. I'm glad that we actually forced them to retreat. That could have gone horrifically badly. So that's a good bit of progress there. Do we have any other troops that we can drop from the air? That's the thing. Now, we could drop them here. They are rather exposed. I don't think it's worthwhile to drop them at Frankfurt. I could drop them on top of an army command, really. But I doubt the 7th Army is going to be there next turn. We still have this armor division, which I can move via rail, which I'm really happy about. So we will do just that. Now, where do we want to move it? I think there's a lot of armor in this area. So let's take a look at the 1st Army, and is this the 3rd Army? Okay, 1st and 3rd. Commander's report, we'll go to headquarters. Let's sort by AFV numbers. Armored fighting vehicles, no. So you can see here the 12th US Army Group has in total 6,337 armoured fighting vehicles, the 21st 4,502, the 6th 2,500. So you can see here the 3rd US Army has 2,489, the 2nd British Army 2,245. So the 1st and the 3rd have the vast majority of our armoured fighting vehicles in the American forces. So the vast majority is concentrated here. Do we compound that? Do we add to that? I think we could do. In fairness, let's see, what are the objectives like over here? So the objective over here is very much within reach. We could throw a lot of firepower at it and achieve that. I'd like to try and take an objective over here in the north end. So these forces will be sent towards Essen. That's where they will go, and where they should ideally be of most use. I could send them towards Cologne, actually, have them join an American command, which is probably a good idea. We shall do just that then. Right, we'll take them off the train, and the 16th US Armoured Division will join the Americans to the north here. Okay. We'll keep them in that position then. Right, superb. So we've dropped, we've moved what we could do. Let's hope that is enough. Okay, what do we have over in Britain? We don't have really forces that could... They could potentially make it. Let's see, can I target them? It is a... Well, it's the 101st US Airborne Division. Once again, resurrected. Push towards the rear. Indeed. Let's see. I could drop them down this way. But I think I will go for this area over here. And I think I will drop just to the east of Dusseldorf. The reason being, it's a good solid location, ideally shouldn't be defended. And we can push them. Okay, so let's hope that this is in fact not the last turn, and we will have another one to use and really try to force them. I'm very much looking forward to that. Okay. The 101st Airborne being set up to be decimated again. I promise you, I'm not trying to destroy them. Okay, so our 13th was forced to pull back with heavy losses there. But they did their job. Seems like Krefeld is open to us. Krefeld is open to us. Which is great news. If we can actually take that fortified position without a struggle, that is very good. It means that we can use that as a point of vantage to then advance further, which is great. I'm really very happy about that. So how is everybody doing then? For those of you who have just joined the stream, what's going on? So we are in fact in the final turn here. Let's make this work. Boy. Let's take a look at the movement here. Okay. So yes, that fortified position is now open, which is great news. Airborne is ready to go. They do have a decent amount of combat value, not a huge amount, but they can still go, which is fantastic. And yeah, the point of the Airborne is to be decimated, pretty much. Here for the victory celebration. I don't know if we're going to have a victory. I really do hope that we do. That'd be great. And we can see here the weather remains good, which is fantastic, or at least passable. The snow is honestly... we need the snow. If it wasn't for the snow, we would have been just bogged down and unable to move or fight, so I'm very glad of that. We do have an opportunity to take Essen, if we're very lucky. At the moment in time, the Germans have potentially, what, 1 division here, 2 divisions. This one's well entrenched due to the fact of the position it occupies. They hold... nothing, just a temporary depot. Dusseldorf is defended, but we might be able to bypass them. That'd be very nice. I could drop Airborne over this way, which would be a very nice thing to do. Okay. Let's see what we can do then, shall we? Right, so we have the main air efforts focused down here. Ground support and reconnaissance. Yeah, reconnaissance and ground support. Okay. If we take a look at where the Luftwaffe is concentrated, we can see that they do have a good amount of planes down this way. We could try to suppress them during the final assaults and try to... I mean, look at that, those are some big numbers. We've very much kept the Luftwaffe at a distance, but we haven't neutralized her. I think what we need to do is fly air superiority over this area. Okay. Air superiority directive, let's go to the 9th. We'll bleed some planes away from the ground support. Right, change these over to fighter bomber fighters. In fact, change a good amount of them over. I need to make use of them. Right, so you're going to be escorted by 300 aircraft. It's not a huge amount, so what I will do is I'm going to convert more of these to escorts, and that levels the numbers out a good amount. What I will do though is take a few extra. There we go. Now these remaining groups I will use on a superiority mission to cover our offensive over here. So I'm going to select this area as the offensive. Right, let's see. That covers the vast majority of the offensive zone, which is great news. Our armor divisions should be able to push through here. It is going to be facing stiff resistance, but we should be able to manage this. So did I confirm that directive? I will do that again, just make sure. Okay. As it seems I didn't. So we'll make that a little bit larger then. That's going to cover this entire zone. Let's make sure they fly in all weather. Okay, now we have these bad boys available to us, which is great. So that is about 368 fighters in the air to cover us, which is good news. Let's take a look at this altitude. It's going to boost this up as high as we can. we'll go for an altitude of 40,000 feet. We're going to be staging from the base over here. That's fine by me. Right, that's very good. Now, the air support, let's see, we'll do a similar operation for the RAF. Okay, so from ground support we will bleed off some escorts. What do we have on reconnaissance? Right, reconnaissance has far too much. That is a boo-boo on my part there. Big boo-boo. They should not have had this much escort. Okay. If I will change the target, I'm going to change it over here. That's a big boo-boo. I should make it about 2. Okay, now for the superiority, set it over Dusseldorf. Well, over Essen and this area in general. Make that about 3. In fact, make it about 2. There we go. Apply in all conditions. Assign what is available. That's 300 planes. And they will be flying, so that's great. Ah, thank you, Virgin. Really well appreciated. Right, 40,000 feet again. Right, they're good to go. Okay, so if we take a look at this, we can see that we do have extra missions set up now. So that's good. We do still have the naval patrol over this way, just to make sure that we can send supplies out this way. Though we haven't really had much issues in that nature, So we have reconnaissance and superiority and reconnaissance ground support, and ground support for our forces here, which is good news. Okay, let's see how this turns out then. Ideally, the air directive will be successful. That's very much what I'm hoping for. Okay. In all honesty, very light losses. So 49 aircraft lost, 112 damage. The Luftwaffe lost 45, so pretty much 1 for 1 there. Only 18 were damaged. Okay. That's pretty good, in all honesty. I'm happy with that result. I was honestly expecting at least 200 losses there, so I'm very much happy with that. Okay. I did the mistake of letting the AI set up directives in the late war. Yeah. It does take some time. It's one of those, once you get rolling, you can very much do it quite easily. So, I want you guys to remember this is in fact the last turn here. The last and final turn. This is going to be the moneymaker. Now, let's see what the AI has done. How has the Axis responded to our advances? So they've abandoned their fortified positions over here, which is fantastic, especially this one here, the Heavy Woods, though they do occupy a position here with 2 Panzer Divisions, the 116th and the 11th Panzer Division, in the Light Woods, though that presents no obstacle to us as we do not even need to go here. Objectives we have taken in this location, so in reality we're going to use the infantry over this way to collapse the part of the German line. We're going to be identifying gaps, or at least positions of strength in the German line. So we'll do just that then, shall we? We'll start here. This is always a good place to start from. So we're going to go for, let's say, black for the Axis. We'll draw the front line and then we'll go from there. Try and make this neat as I can. Okay. They theoretically occupy that territory, but they're not that in strength, so I'm going to ignore that. So what we'll do then is we'll draw positions of weakness in a different colour this time. Let's go for a nice purplish colour. Okay, so weakness. Well, actually I'm going to say no to that one, because at the end of the day they have these forces behind them, so this one is practically irrelevant. That... and this division here too. Those are points of weakness. Then again, I'll draw it on as it is a point of weakness, isn't it, after all? Okay. They might be able to break through. Okay, we'll just select all of us. So these are points of weakness. So in reality, this area here and this area here are the ways that we break through. This one's going to be hell, though in fairness I can break that. It's going to be rough, as I would have rather have not had the panzer divisions on the flanks, but we can manage. Our objective, let's see, is here, at Mans. So in fairness, I could just concentrate my efforts against them. The 15th Panzer Grenadier Division is not making my life easy either, nor is the SS Panzer Grenadier Division to the north. So they do have forces, but thankfully they haven't put armoured forces here. So it's going to take us a lot of effort to break them. Well, we will break them. We definitely will do that. Okay, so let's take a look at our opportunities then. So we're going to go for yellow for the 1st US Army. Yeah, the pencil pen tool is just so useful. So useful. It's great for streaming. I love it, really. Actually, let's go for a brown. Do I have a brown? I don't have a brown. I need to buy the pro version. Let's go for like a brownish. Okay, how are we going to break this position? We're going to have to concentrate an assault against these forces here. If I can dislodge them and get forces round, that's great. I do have a lot of men to throw at this. I will use infantry first and foremost. This position, we need to destroy and push them back. At the end of the day, they will fall back to this position here, as they can't go this way as there's a stack of free there. They simply can't do it. So the idea here is we are going to force our way through and around. If I can get around and have units here, here, and ideally here, and have a multi-vectored attack upon the city, we should be able to drive them out and take the objective. That would be great. Our victory points have increased quite nicely over here, but we are still quite far behind. Can you call in some B-17s or something to soften them up? Unfortunately, we don't have access to the strategic aircraft. We only have the level bombers and the fighter bombers, so nothing too heavy, which is fine. We can work with that in the scenario. Okay, and then for our other forces, how do we want to break through? We do have a bunch down here, but I'm going to move them to the north, ideally to support our men here. Now for the first US Army, this is going to be more interesting. In fairness, what I could do is, well, we need to figure out objectives. We need to figure out what is going to be worthwhile doing. So if we take a look over here, we do have our objective. So in fairness, the 1st US Army could be pushed down this way to support an assault. It's going to be an all-out assault on this area. Absolutely all out. We need to do it. If I could take Cologne, that'd be great, but I don't think it'd be doable as of yet. It might be, but it's not particularly worthwhile. So it's very simple. We need to throw armoured, we need to throw infantry, we need to throw it all at this one point. There's no fine tactics to this, as we simply do not have the time. And you have the move points to encircle and take this city through. Sorry. Well, the thing is, we are dealing with a Panzer Grenadier division. That is simply no laughing matter. Those forces are formidable and dangerous. So yeah, and then another Panzer Grenadier division to the north of that. It's difficult. I mean, the river is thankfully, well, possibly frozen. I'd like to think it is frozen. It seems to be frozen, which is great. That allows us movement. We may be able to use our airborne forces to try and soften them up from behind. We'll have to see. Okay. It would take a lot of effort. A lot of effort there. Well, we'll see what we can make of it. Now then, to the north. The situation's different. It is very different. We'll use a black again to obviously draw the front line, and we'll go through that. If we do assault the city, we are going to be needing plenty of engineers and artillery. Plenty of both. Ideally assault guns too. Okay. We'll use a orange then. So, we have a good opportunity to take this, which we will. Now, I can push through this and this potentially with ease. This one would be more difficult of the two. This one I would love to do. What we need to do is force our way through and break them. We might have an opportunity. Let's see, do I have the opportunity to drop airborne forces? I do over here. Let's make the most of it. In all honesty, it's very simple. It's at a point now where the enemy is just in the way. Weakness here. Weakness. Practically a point of weakness. It's weaker than both. So this could be broken. I would rather them not retreat into the city, because that would very much slow me down and make losses exponentially higher. So we'll try to avoid that if we can. as that would be ideal. But we'll do as we must. We'll take a look at the situation in the south and see what we can do with the Free French forces. Ideally, we could break through and take their objectives. Though, actually, that's a good opportunity that we might be able to do so. There's only the 360th Cossack Regiment. That's something to bear in mind. They are very well entrenched, but we do have an opportunity. I could just try to force that. I could force that, potentially. I might be able... Actually, this is looking fairly promising of all the situations we've had here. If we break through here, we might be able to approach it from the north, cut off these forces, which is very, very doable. In fact, we have a... This one, I wish we could. I wish we had enough force, but we could potentially take Freiburg. Right, well, we'll see what we can do there, but that's looking decent. This is actually quite a weak position. The headquarters aren't going to be able to put up much of a fight, the 19th, so they would flee pretty quickly. Freiburg could be ours, and that would be a very nice objective to have there. The idea is in the final turn we seize as many objectives as possible. Right, so the Germans have advanced from Arnhem to the border here. I should have taken a look and seen where they've redeployed their forces, but we'll see what we can do here. I guess violating Swiss neutrality is a no-no. Very much a no-no. In fairness, it wouldn't really buy us anything. So that's fine. Okay, let's see what we can do here in the south then. See what we can make of it. Alright, I do have my armoured over here. They could be dispatched. I do have the motorised, which I'm going to form up into a full division. Right, 9th and 1st. Ah. Oh, that's an infantry division. Right, okay. I'm looking for when I have the most assault value. Okay, let's see what we can do here to the north. Right, assault that position, force them out of there. Okay, easily done. Okay, let's move these US forces. Have them transferred to the Free French Command here. Okay. Now we'll use these forces here. Do they have an opportunity for a full-blown attack? Sadly, no. So what we will do then is we will use them on a hasty attack. So the Germans have committed reserves. Ooh, heavy difficulty there. Okay, they commit reserves and actually does stop us completely in our tracks there. That's rather unfortunate. That's actually a difficult result there. Right, occupy. Actually, in fairness, we'll make sure just in case there's another turn. Okay. Right. It's a good point raised there, experience. Supplies isn't the only one, so if we take a look at this, this is going to be something we need to see. Right, supply priority, morale, experience. So these are generally well-experienced troops. These guys aren't too well-experienced. They don't have as much experience, nor does the majority of the German army. Sorry, the American armies. Some units do have more experience than the others, but yeah. The Germans do tend to have some very well-experienced units. Units with lots of combat experience, in comparison. Right, supplies is another one. Fuel, ammunition is also a good one to look for. These units have lots of ammunition. Not so much here. I mean, these guys do, but there's some units without much ammunition. Yeah, they're actually well supplied. Though not here in the north, actually, which is rather interesting. Let's see. I'm looking for fuel. So, fuel. Yeah, they're actually manageable. They can do that. Yeah. The issue is the, we've been pushing the Axis to their own lines. That's the difficulty. Difficult. Okay. We need to pick a point and just go for it. It might not be the right point, but we do have to try. We do have to try and seize these objectives at the last possible second. There's a good chance that we can manage it, so let's do this then, shall we? It's nice to see all of you in the chat. I'm glad you guys are interacting and having a good time. That's really what I like to see. Okay, we're going to throw extra force this way. Now, do I use that division? I think I will use that Algerian division. I need to break through. Okay. Actually. The 2 brigades will attack you. Right, they are not successful. Close. But ultimately not successful. The Americans sadly can't attack again. Okay, we'll have the 3rd Algerian Division attack. I need to have these forces support them. Right, let's hope this makes it. Oh, so very close. Okay, potentially together they may have a chance. Right, the Algerians can't handle that. We'll give the armor a go. No, sadly they're repelled. These bloody... Ah, dear. Okay, that has not gone the way I wanted or expected, which does make things difficult. Okay, we'll move our forces here. I do have some strong infantry divisions, so that's quite nice to see. Okay, we'll throw what we have available. Make sure we throw everything into this. Mountain infantry could be very handy. Okay, move our support up close. Oh dear. Okay. We can't even go for a full attack. That's difficult. I don't think we'll be able to take the objective. I think the train, in fact, prohibits that. Okay. So that was a nice attempt, but sadly we are stopped at Freiburg. If we'd had another turn, we could have done that. That's a shame. Is there no way to take a shortcut through Switzerland? Unfortunately not. Well... difficult situation, but one that I allowed to happen, so I will take responsibility. We'll take a look at over here at the north then. Let's see what we can do. So we are going to use forces from the rear, I think. Right, 8, 9. As long as I can move them back out, I'd be happy. What did we capture here? A good amount of supply, actually, which is fantastic. Okay, can I assault this position? I will move up another commando brigade. Right. Anti-tank. Let's see how they manage. So close. Okay, we will pull back. Right, I do have my forces here to the south. Okay, let's have the 84th help out. There we go. I was giving them different support units, really, just to make up the combat value. Engineer is always very good to have. Wow. Oh, you sons of bitches. They are really well dug in there. And proven extremely difficult to dig out. Right, good, I can pull back that unit at least. Okay, let's fly some units in behind then. Do we have an idea how much these objectives will be worth? Fairness, we do only have this one objective, so I will concentrate on that actually. Forget this. If we can take this, that'd be great. Yeah, bashing your head against a German brick wall. Very, very true. This is the objective we need to take, so forget all of this then. Right, we'll drop our airborne down here then. So I'm looking for 118. 118, 118. Okay, let's drop. I'll just drop. I don't care about the losses too much. They should be able to make it through. Okay, so we'd land just to the rear here, which is actually pretty good. How about further forces? Right, reinforcements have arrived over here, actually. Okay. Yeah, we're actually doing pretty good here in terms of, like, actually persecuting the war in the West. Let's see, can I drop them? Right, quite heavy losses, I'm not going to lie. But we land behind their lines. Would have been nice to actually have taken the city. So in fairness, I could probably have dropped there in the city, since there's no enemies there. That would have been hard to get them out. Okay, let's focus on our objective over here then. At least I have so much force I can throw at this, which is great. Let's make sure we throw the strongest that I can. In fairness, I should have let them have an attack and then pull back. Oh well, you live and learn. Ah, they almost made it actually. And the British and Canadian forces are very powerful. There we go. I'm guessing Montgomery got kicked upstairs after Market Garden. Okay, let's make sure these forces are well provisioned with support. I can throw everything I have at this. Frankly, there's nothing else. I need to make it happen. Okay. Okay. Just draw a fresh-faced Idaho farmers in Frankfurt, see how well it goes. I like that. Assault engineers are always good. Engineers. Okay, let's throw everything we have here. Oh, you son of a... Can I just point out the fact that they were attacked by some 2,387 armoured fighting vehicles. They were attacked by 140,000 troops. 1,250 guns there. That is a lot of firepower. They had air support, not a great deal, but yes, that was a huge amount of firepower thrown at them. And frankly, I'm hoping that they don't, in fact, repulse me again. Which is a very real possibility. Though they have no defensive capabilities left now, they have no entrenchment, it might be doable with another full-blown attack. We'll see what we can achieve with these remaining forces. Okay. So, we'll pull back the forces that we can. These forces can go for a hasty attack, try to weaken them. Yeah, this is the situation I want to avoid, is where these troops can't move. Yes, indeed. There's a lot of troops there. Okay. The difficulty is, if this was one division, we would have broken them by now. No, I don't think we'll break them. That is a big shame. I was hoping that we could have taken these final objectives, but it seems it's not to be. We will throw everything at them. Try to make it possible. Yes, the defenders hold on tenaciously. Okay, we simply cannot get through to them now. Yes, those two divisions are held out against all odds. And against the largest concentration of firepower yet seen. So that is a difficult situation, that is a difficult pill to swallow there. But this is war, we have to expect this. I was really hoping we could have broken them. Really hoping. Perhaps if we'd have concentrated everything here. But I expected a breakthrough here, and I'm somewhat disappointed that we're unable to achieve it. In hindsight, maybe needed to go balls to the wall earlier. It's very true, but I think we've achieved a good result overall. I'm happy with what we've achieved together. And it has been a joint effort. Okay. I feel that we can at least make a big push over here. Okay. With these forces that aren't going to be able to make it this way, we could probably attack. Okay, so full-blown assault to the south. Yeah, we force them to retreat, and once more here into the breach, and we force them. Aye, everybody has their opinions of what should have been done. I mean, this is the thing, this is the beauty. I challenge you guys to do this scenario and see what you could do. See what your results are. See what you did and how it made a difference. I'd love to know. Right. Push through another 3 divisions. And we have a breakthrough here, that's for definite. Right, we'll hit this Volkskomjäger group. You tenacious bastards. We'll hit them, see if we can force them back. Which we do, actually, which is really quite nice. I'd be in Berlin. Aye, indeed. Right, they should fall easily enough anyway. Okay. Right. Moscow. That'd have been nice. That'd have been very nice. Okay, with the stronger division, we'll try to force them back. Which we succeed in. And this is it. Now progress is open over here. Okay. Right, this is what we need to take. How are we going to make that happen? I don't think that single division could be strong enough alone. Right, so 2 infantry divisions. Right, let's move his headquarters close to make sure they can actually participate in this. Okay, so these 2 infantry divisions, I need them to break through. In fairness, do I use more armoured? I think we'll use armoured here too. I need to use overwhelming force, yes, and they retreat to just when I need them to as well. So that was great. I mean, this victory was costly but worthwhile. Okay. Actually, not very costly, which is fantastic. It cost us quite a lot in the air, but it did cost the Luftwaffe too. That's great. So we actually managed to force them to retreat, which is great news. And they are out. What are those square 0070 counters? Square? Where are we looking here? 070. Oh! These ones, if you are talking... Oh, right, okay. Oh, the old question. Right, okay. Yeah, those are unknown units. Those are units that we have no information about. Which makes things fun. I can tell you that. Okay, we do have the first airborne. Let's throw everything we can. Right, so we have 2 infantry divisions. There's something here. The intelligence agency does not know what could be a unit of cooks or a panzer division. Yeah, very true. There we go. Form that division up. Shame about these forces being so far to the rear. I don't know if they'll be of much use, but we'll see what we can do. Okay. I feel this is probably worthwhile. And again, I think I'll save these forces here. Except the 5th. Right, let's hope for the best. Thankfully we break through. That's what I need. That's really what I need. Right, these forces are stuck in that position now, which is difficult. Hmm. Right, we could advance the panzers. Instead of the armoured. I forget which side I'm on sometimes. Right, we'll try these divisions here, see what success they have over this way. Who knows, they might have some. Not bad, actually. Not bad. Let's see. Unfortunately unable. Had that not been a 15th, well, had that not been a Panzer Grenadier division, we could have had a lot more success there. And that would have made me very happy. But then again, not everything can be great. Not everything can go the way that we would desire it. So we need to make the best use of this. So we have we have far too much armor here. We have far too many units almost. Far too much almost. It's difficult. In fact, I think I will use these forces over here to try and push this back. Yeah, there's too many units. Scouted, wow. They are very well entrenched. Yeah, true burn if everything goes your way. That's a good point, actually. Force that panzer. There you go. I've seen, well, I'm probing their lines really here. Okay, you can't go anywhere. That's a lot of support there. There we go. I need to open room up. This is far more from watching XTRG squirm. I need to open up space. This is the issue. I really do. Ugh. Let's see if that armor division can make this happen. Doubt it. Should have had them attack initially. Ah well. I'm half tempted to even throw these panzers, just well armored. Okay. So the 20th, 7th, 13th, and 17th can attack. Okay. Then again, I might as well throw them at this But let's see what success we have here. None. These bloody German forces. I need them to break. I need success. It's not going to happen, but I need it. I don't need to win the lottery. I don't need to win the lottery. I don't need a new Mercedes. I don't need these. Okay. Well. Didn't expect that. Didn't actually expect that success, but I'll take it. Hot damn, I'll take it. Wow. I don't even know what to say there. That's actually really surprised me. Well, I'm happy about that. At least we've actually managed to achieve a success that it demands. I'm very happy about it. I'm actually really ecstatic about that. That's great news. Genuinely didn't think that would happen. Yeah, Paras are happy now, definitely. I'm honestly astonished. That could not have been any better. Really, really good. Oh, boy, let's take a look at that battle. Fly them back to the UK for the next job. Oh, dear. They probably watched the regular troops attack and said, "Ugh, that." Right, is this the one where they finally retreat? Indeed. I mean, let's see. Indeed, this is city fighting too. I mean, we only attacked with 46,000 troops. We attacked with far more in the north, with far more armoured, far more artillery pieces. The Germans routed. In fact, they lost more guns than they actually had to begin with. That's rather impressive. They lost them, and then we rebuilt them, and then we destroyed them all over again. I mentioned that might have been the AA that was attached to the city. But this is actually quite a big victory, and one I did not actually expect, so I'm very, very happy about that. Let's see, so they was held by the 183rd Volkskundiger Division. Right. Indeed, they lost a lot of their forces here. A lot of them. It seems the most dangerous armoured vehicle they had was a Jagdpanzer. So that's good. I mean, we were pretty much throwing everything we had there, so that's great news. Very, very happy about that. How about in the air? So they had an ME-262 as well. We had Havocs and Marauders. In the combat there, can you capture enemy commanders in this? You can kill enemy commanders. You can kill them. Let's see. BF-19s, Pocket Wolves, a good number, about 14 ME-262s. That's rather impressive. Right, okay. Very, very happy about that result there. Could not honestly have anticipated that, so that's the greatest result we could have asked for. What I'm going to take home, definitely. Oh boy. Okay, let's reinforce our lines over here then, I suppose. I don't anticipate another turn, but we'll see. Need to be ready for this one. I think an issue that we had is far too much force. Yeah, but Luftwaffe is still a thing. Good news, guys, we're only up against Jagdpanzers. Well, I mean, I'd rather be up against a Jagdpanzer. To be honest, I'd rather not be up against anything. But if I had to choose, I'd rather it be a Jagdpanther than, let's say, like a King Tiger 2, something like that, you know what I mean? I'd rather not that. They're doing, like, guerrilla air warfare at this point, indeed. I don't imagine they'll have much going for them. There we go. Reinforce that position. Oh. They're just antagonizing me now. Finally. They give them. Yeah, meteors. Meteors are really lovely. Well, let's take a look at the city over here then. At least we have some supply there, which is very nice of them to leave that for us. But if we take a look, indeed we have taken quite a few industrial centres from the Axis here. Sadly we didn't capture these ones. But we tried. You can see that we have taken a good amount of German industry. Obviously this is probably where the border started, or at least where the front line was. You can see that is a lot of lost production for the Germans, for the Axis. And it might have been that we would be able to establish this as a pocket in the future. There we go. Let's see. Who knows if this will be enough, if this final push was in fact enough to actually secure us a victory. That's something we do not know. Right. Let's throw ourselves over here then, see if we can break through in the end. So that would be very nice if I could. Okay, let's make sure everybody has engineers. Lots of tank battalion, tank destroyers. There we go. Sprint those engineers out like candy. Okay. Well, at this stage they've also lost Silesia, so they have little production left except from Western Czechoslovakia and Munich area. Very true, actually, very true. Right. Let's throw our cards at Cologne. So close. No combined attack, sadly. We did manage to break them down. I mean, they were defending with a Volksgrenadier division and an infantry division, and they would have been entrenched at level 3. So that attack was quite dangerous. At this moment, we're really just trying to force our way through where we can, see what we can do to the Germans in the end. Quite a difficult turn, if I'm honest. Yeah, why not? Another throw of the dice. Not entirely unexpected, I might say it that way. Okay. So very close to breaking them in the north. So, yes. Difficult pill to swallow down here. Very difficult. But one that we set ourselves up for. So, in the end, we have managed to achieve at least the city. And frankly, after this, then Frankfurt would be open. The entire... the Rhine and the Ruhr would be gone. The Reich would fall in a very quick succession. So, the last turn. Somewhat anticlimactic, but very interesting nonetheless. There we go. The first US Army forcing them here in the center to give ground. What do we have here? A headquarters. Let's see, can you throw a attack out there? Right. What do we have here? It's a core headquarters. Okay. There we go. From what I can see, some seems to access a lot more VPs, indeed. I think we are going to face a defeat in the end, but I'm sure you guys will believe a victory was there. Just one that I wasn't able to achieve. Let's see the result of this then, shall we, ladies and gentlemen. This has been a series that we've worked on together through blood and tears. So, it's been an honor. It's been an honor, gentlemen. Have you taken Koblenz? Yes, we have Koblenz. We take a look over here. So we have Koblenz, we have Mans, we have Ida Oberstein, we have Landan, Bonn, Trier. I mean, these were big. There's a lot of fights in this area. Remember the Malmödy's pocket destruction over here. So indeed, I mean, we have pushed very far. We've taken a good number of these objectives. I feel it might have been the VPs in the end that defeat us. Though only 1, 2, 3... 4, 5 objectives remain out of our grasp in the end. But no matter, we go forwards together. Now what I will do here is I'm going to quickly save, just so I can use this as a point of reference in the future. Now this is so I can see and we can compare, as we do have some post-stream discussion to go through. So, here we go, we'll end the turn and see what the results are. We may yet have one final turn, we'll see. No, we do not. There we go, just turn that down. Axis minor victory. So in the end we are defeated, only barely. But you know what, guys, I think that was worthwhile. I think it has been very much, yeah, the black boss to defeat. Okay, let's bring the music back on. There we go. It started playing at the same time. Yeah, I apologise about the loudness. It was the game playing that. I didn't think it would do that, actually. But yes. Yes, here we are. Seems the Axis scored a lot at Baston, Arnhem, and Cleve. Freiburg actually bought them a lot in the end. If I'd have taken that, I could have been in a different situation. It came very close in the end. Almost made it. But you know what? I think in reality we did achieve a victory. Just the VPs got us in the end. But you see these numbers here. These are some big numbers. I feel that these should have been worth more. I mean... oh well. They did score a lot from these victories, a lot from the aircraft, a lot from the armored fighting vehicles. We could have shaved off a good deal there. Yeah, the loss of the lost tanks has hurt you. I mean, that was a massive attack at that one point. That one attack could have cost us quite a lot. So, Axis VP advantage 1.4 to 1, Axis minor victory. I don't know what they can call a victory here, but it's certainly not one they would live with. So if we take a look at the map here. So, actually, does this give us a view of the Axis forces too? Ah, that's fantastic. So I can see the Axis here. Right, yeah, that one attack did cost us a lot. If you take a look at this, the rank had very little. These forces here, let's see. I like the fact I can actually take a look at the German forces here, that's very nice. Their table equipment wasn't actually too heavily damaged. They would have been able to continue fighting. They would have fallen into another turn, but they were there, and they did put up a hell of a fight. Can I see the Germans' logistics? I can actually. Okay, ooh. That's actually rather nice. I can actually see both sides' logistics, at least where the depots are. So you can see here, the Germans actually concentrated a lot of their depots, a lot of their logistics over here in the north, which is rather interesting, considering we didn't do anything. So in the end, lots of logistics down here, but very little in the north, very little in the centre, should I say. But in reality, the Axis would have been just completely annihilated in the following returns. They really had nothing left to give. The Allied armies would have overwhelmed them. And you take a look at this, they only had these forces on the front lines. These forces would have been overwhelmed in the end. Let's see. 116th. Not very well off. Indeed. Well, I'm smarting from a loss here. It would have been nice to have a victory, but I think we called it some time before. So in the end, we are defeated, but I think we've achieved a victory in reality here. I mean, the fact is, we are only mere moments away from taking Frankfurt. With the loss of Frankfurt, that would have cost them severely. And really, Frankfurt and then onto Nuremberg, Berlin would fall in a matter of time. They would simply not have the forces to commit to this. Yeah, that might be because you overrun their depots in the middle. That's very true, actually. I probably did overrun them. But just take a look at this. We've advanced from Baston all the way over here, so that's quite some distance. Indeed, a defeat is a defeat. I'll eat my I'll eat it up and accept that. But it's been a hell of a fight. I've genuinely enjoyed this. I hope you guys as well have as well. So you have 15th Army over here. So yes, in reality, I could have probably dropped some airborne, and we might have been able to take Essen and indeed quite a lot of territory there. Let's see. It's nice to see where the Axis have their forces. These forces were a pain in my arse. The terrain made it very difficult to break through there. Probably should have concentrated more armor in this area, but that would have been fine. The next few turns would stretch the Axis lines too far. The density made us turn out to quite some front strength. I mean, you take a look at this. The strength here was just overwhelming. In time, they would have been pushed back to a point at which we could have encircled them and destroyed them. So that's great. I genuinely have enjoyed this. I really hope you guys have as well. I mean, we never did take these points over here, but they were very difficult. I would rather have not done that. So, I suppose the thing is, we are fighting the Axis with interior lines. You know what? In a way, I think we might have been better off allowing the Axis to actually advance deeper into French territory and then cutting them off and destroying them. So I suppose in some ways, we actually did make this harder on ourselves by blunting their assault, as they then had all those divisions ready and available. So, that was very, very interesting. Something new next week? Well, we will be in discussions. I will be in discussions with Matrix, and we will try to make something happen. Whether it is next week, we'll have to find out. But I'm sure you guys will know. So let's take a look. My view was that you wasted precious turns eliminating those two encirclements. First, they caused serious casualties on the side. Second, you have broken their lines around Trier and Cologne, and those units could have been better used. Very true. So what we will do here then is we will go back. So let's see. Right, so in fact I will save the end of this scenario. And there we go, save that here. Just put that. There we go, save that, and we'll go back to the earlier turns. Let's take a look then, shall we? So let's start at the beginning then. We'll start all the way over here at the end of the first turn. Okay. Now, bear in mind, we ended up here in the end. This is where we ended up. We'd taken all of these cities. At this point on turn 2, we were so very optimistic about our progress. So very light-hearted. We've forced a victory. Indeed. I think it might have been better had we... I mean, these were units that we didn't see after some time. I think we did eventually end up destroying the 2nd SS Panzer Division. So, it might have been worthwhile to actually have allowed the Axis forces to advance over here to then have cut them off. That would have been an interesting scenario difference there. But if we take a look at this. Take a look at these numbers, shall we? We have the Axis over here with just around about 1.6 million men. 3,400 armoured fighter vehicles in total, 2,902 ready. 22,000 guns ready. Indeed. So at this point, what do you guys reckon would have been the better shot? I kind of do feel if we'd allowed the Axis to push and advance into our own territories, i.e. I had these units just head out of the way and allow them in. That could have been very ambitious. It could have gone very wrong. Could have gone very, very wrong. In fact, it could have gone the complete opposite way. But that's something that we do have to bear in mind, and something that we would have had to deal with. But we'll see. I really think this part was fine. Interesting, interesting. I feel like possibly changing our tactics here could have spelled out greater success, but we'll see. We'll then move on to a following turn and see what changed then. So we'll move on to the end of the second stream. Yeah, a lot of SS divisions. I think the weather really did halt us. So we can see here we did make a lot of progress in this area, and this was the beginnings of the Maldi pocket. Which was pretty difficult. I think I spent a long time trying to encircle this as stated. But if we'd have been able to achieve a much larger encirclement, I mean, that would have been a great deal. If we'd have been able to break through here, that would have been absolutely insane. But yes, I feel we should have made more progress with the British and the Canadian forces. That would have been a better idea. Would have been much better to keep throwing them out of the Axis rather than letting them sit there pretty. So that's something that I wish I'd have changed. And this is it, we do need to bear in mind that it's hard to make these decisions in the moment. So we learn and we adapt. Yeah, that one disastrous counterattack. I mean, was this the counterattack yet? I think this was in fact the counterattack over here. I wouldn't be shocked if that was the one there. I wish I'd saved that at that moment. Maybe taking Cologne would have been an option. Cologne almost fell here. If we'd have been able to move our forces faster, at least in greater numbers, then we could have taken Cologne. And Cologne would have been a definite major point of victory there. I feel these forces here I should have been moving, because at the end of the day, these forces weren't very well entrenched, and I would have been able to defeat them over time. So I feel I misused the British forces. Over here we could have been ploughing through them, even with the American forces. I think the issue was I took a lot of the American forces and moved them here. In reality, I don't think I actually needed them. I think I would have been competent enough with the 1st and the 3rd US armies. Yeah, I think I got too far focused on the centre rather than the wider picture. But then I do tend to play the longer game, the grand game, and get a little bit too focused on certain objectives. But, you know, I think I'd rather have a defeat. I think a victory would have been too boring in a way. I think we achieved a lot, but you know what, to actually have a defeat I think is a great little way to end this. So at the end of the day, you guys can see what I did, and you can do something different. And if you do something different, and it works out to be more effective, then you know what, I'd love to see that. I really would. So, we're going to move on to the following turn and see what happened just right after. Yeah, I think the counter-offensive did cost us a hell of a lot at the end. So we'll move on to stream 3. The end of stream 3. And I think this is where we started. I mean, we managed to achieve our pocket over here. The difficulty was, I suppose this was where it could have changed. The difficulty was of the fact I wasn't expecting to be able to hold this pocket. I was hoping, but I didn't expect it. Yeah, this is where we could have done things different. Okay, so this pocket was, actually that's rather small. There we go. Let's draw this round here. And that was the pocket I was very much focused on. And I suppose, in reality, I should have left the bare minimum forces here to hold them, and then force our way through. It could have been very much a different story. And in fact, I wish I had the start of the turn, I could do something different. In fairness, if you guys would like, I could leave all of the save files. I could upload them online. And then you guys could actually have a go yourselves and see what you could do differently. And if you do something differently, I'd love to know about it. I really would. I genuinely would enjoy that. I think that'd be a great way to actually get people into the game. And just in general, just make the game more interactive. I think that could be a really nice way to do something in the future. So yes, I will do that after the stream. I will upload links and post them to the video when I do have time, or at least when it is posted on YouTube. I think that's a good way to do something. But yes, I mean, over here we did get very much focused on this, but this was a great prize. I mean, we have 1 Panzer Division, 2 Panzer Division, a 3rd Panzer Division SS, so 4th. So yeah, so that was 4 Panzer Divisions, 3 Panzer Divisions, 1 SS Panzer Division. We had plenty of Volksgrenadier and infantry in this pocket. If we'd been able to clear this pocket up sooner, we could have moved on further. But this I feel, yes, I wish that we could have done that. My issue wasn't that you cleared it, was that you cleared it too early. True, true. I wanted to move through here, but I suppose the difficulty of the terrain and the width of the front really did prevent that. And let's take a look at what the Germans could have done. Now, they do have a 116th Panzer Division, as well as the 17th SS Panzer Grenadier Division. They could have very easily, along with these Volkswagen Jaegers, they could have very easily tried to redeploy them this way. But in fact, it's rather interesting. Yeah, I suppose over time they would have been starved, and in the end, destroying units wasn't even worth too much. So we could have eventually dealt with them. Now, over here we would have had a... this was difficult. I mean, the pocket that we ended up forming, well, we advanced here, but I don't think this was wide enough. I think we should focus in different areas. If I'd had the armoured, I could have run through this. But this is rather interesting. The American Corps could have been used to hammer through their broken lines and stay cleaning up the lines. That's very, very true. Very true. But we'll go into the next turn and see what happened then. So this is end of stream 4. Now this is where we have finished off the Malmedy pocket. You can see here that some success did come, and this could have been another turning point here. This was another point at which things were looking quite good. It's like we'd had encircled these forces over here, and we were looking like we could break through and head straight to Frankfurt. It's very interesting. It seems like the Germans were able to take forces from other parts of their lines, and I think that was the issue. I think I should have been forcing them over here in the north and in the south, and that would have distracted them from being able to send more troops to the centre. So I think that was the combined failings. Potentially slowing ourselves at Malmedy far too much, and not using our allied forces to their maximum potential. It was only in the latter turns we started using the British and Canadians, as well as the Free French. But if we take a look, let's see, for example, their numbers dropped quite dramatically over time, especially the AFVs. So this is a rather interesting point in time, where things could have been vastly different. The armour division here would have been difficult. Panzers. I feel that we probably should have left just a few brigades just to keep them hemmed in. Indeed, and try to run through them. I think the difficulty has been the combat width. There's a lot of troops in a smaller front as opposed to the eastern front, where the front was very large at times. Well, most often very large. So we'll move on to the following turn. Okay. Now stream 5, end of stream 5. This is where we left off. Indeed. Yeah, our forces ended up too broken up, too disorganized. We'd ploughed a lot, and this is actually interesting to see that this objective wasn't actually held. I think the last 2 screens show an issue. Go on, if you'd like to say. Let's see. What success do we have here? and cleave. See, I reckon we could have broken this. At least weakened it to a point at which we could have broken through in the end. I mean, look at that. I actually do make quite good progress. It's difficult to go, and don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, we are breaking them down slowly but surely. These forces here. Yes, I reckon we could have probably broken them by the next turn. A more narrow, further push, a deeper push would force the Axis to stretch their lines. That's the difficulty, really, is trying to force a lance through the enemy. That's a difficult one to do. But you know what? I feel that a lot of people can learn from my failure. Don't get too focused on a single objective. Try to think beyond that. I need to remember that advice myself. So, again, we take a look at these numbers. They continue to drop. I think this might be one of their lowest points at 1,681 armoured fighting vehicles available. And that is a lot of vehicles there taken out. Thank you, Campstar. So if we take a look then beyond... and at the end here. See, we do manage to neaten up our lines, but the issue is we never really... Yeah, the strategy was working on turn 4. I suppose that's when we focus too much on the Malmedy pocket and not so much on the offensive to a degree. So that's a good point to raise. And then if you were worried about a reversal, I think that's very true. I think I was far too cautious in the north, far too cautious. I think these British forces could have handled far worse and given out far more. Indeed. But it was starting to look open. I think we should have just made a few different decisions in the end. So yes, guys, do you have any questions? I'm going to take some questions for a little while. Hopefully I can help you guys out and give you what you'd like. So, any questions? Let's go. But I believe it's been a very good series. I feel it has been a lot of fun, and I hope you guys have learned something too. I mean, in the end, I've learned something, so I feel it has been worthwhile. Genuinely happy about this. How many other scenarios have you played? Ooh, I've played this scenario as the Axis maybe twice. I've played a large scenario. Actually, that's a good point. Let's take a look at some of the scenarios in War of the West, then, shall we? Can explore some of the scenarios that you guys would have to choose from. Which is your favourite? See, I do like the grand campaigns. For example, this one's a very interesting scenario, the 4th Supreme Command. On the 13th of March 1943, Hitler is killed by a bomb planted on his Condor aircraft by Henning von Traskow. In the ensuing chaos, the Wehrmacht seized power in Germany and declared the 4th Command, a Supreme Command. In World War I, the period when Hindenburg and Ludendorff were in command was the 3rd Supreme Command. This what-if scenario has been written to provide the Axis player with solutions to historical areas of weakness. The oil field over here is much larger, which allows increased fuel and resources. Production has been streamlined to deliver more key aircraft and AFVs at the expense of multiple versions. Finally, Rommel has been evacuated along with most of his armored group, which allows a stronger starting position. The allied player may target. Okay, so we're going to take a quick look at this one. This is one I really do enjoy. How's the AI from Normandy to the end? How do you set up depots? I shall show you shortly, actually. It is... Right, actually, let's take a look. Well, we're actually playing as the Allies here, so at least we get to take a look at this from the beginning. That's good. So this is a grand scenario. This is one of the... This is as large as the map does get, which is really awesome. So if we take a look over here, then... Okay, I do like the look of the North Africa campaign. So Sicily would be very, very interesting. The weak underbelly, indeed. Soft underbelly. Wow. So this would be a rather interesting scenario to play as the Allies. Going up against an Axis that is actually more streamlined and actually tougher. Indeed is quite a large map. We've been playing on quite a small section of the map in reality. you can see the numbers are larger. And this is July 3rd, 1943. A vastly different scenario here. The Italians are still in this in practically full force. Which makes a difference. You can see here the West Wall. And let's take a look at all this industry. You can see all these red circles indicate areas of industry. You can see here the vast amount of airfields in Britain. Or airstrip 1, should I say. Indeed. This is a very interesting scenario. One that I do genuinely enjoy. So I would say that's probably one of my favourites. We'll take a look at some of the others. Okay. Now we do have some different ones as well. Let's say... Now this would have been a longer one. This is a 1945 campaign. The scenario seeks to recreate the final months of the Third Reich. The Axis player can choose to launch the Battle of the Bulge or conserve forces for a longer defense. The Allied player should seek to defeat the Germans and capture Berlin before the Soviets. So this is very much the campaign that we've played, but much longer version. It's one where the Axis would have the choice if they do want to commit an assault, which is rather interesting. There we go. Now, these larger scenarios do take a considerably longer amount of time. Though not always, it does depend. I do enjoy having the larger scenarios as you do have a lot more flexibility and you can do a lot more. It's really quite fun. Like for example, you take a look at these numbers here. Take a look at the amount of divisions, the amount of forces here. It's huge. Indeed, it seems the Axis opts for a Ardennes offensive. Actually, it's going to be rather interesting to see how the AI does at this. Right, seems that would be Baston. Indeed, they actually do very well. I mean, this could have been the potential scenario that we faced. Quite easily. In the larger scenarios, do you put a lot of effort into strategic bombing, aka picking specific targets? Yes, it's very good to do that, to be honest. You can very much focus on specific rail lines, for example. That's always a good one. If you slow down the amount of supplies reaching the front, you can very much have a massive impact on the combat in general. It really is very simple. Or for example, you can target certain vehicle production facilities, oil, etc, etc. You can do quite a lot of damage if you focus. But the freedom is there to the player. It's very much there. Okay, let's take a look at what we'd have in this scenario. So under our command, quite a lot of forces there, really. A heck of a lot. We'd be able to make a lot of that. Now let's take a look at what we have in terms of actual... Indeed, so let's see here. The numbers of aircraft are very large, much of them based over here in Britain, but of course we do have aircraft in Italy, some in North Africa, not many of course, some over here in Corsica. The Luftwaffe is very much spread out over here. And let's see, aircraft type. Do we have the heavier bombers? B-26s, yes, we do have B-17s over here, as well as B-24 Liberators. Those are Marauders. Okay, there we go, there's a Liberator. Okay. So we have a few Liberators down here in Italy, then we have a good few Liberators over here in Britain. You can see their range over here is actually pretty phenomenal. They wouldn't have much issue reaching the vast majority of the targets in the Reich, which is something to bear in mind. So if you take a look at these aircraft, these are beautiful, beautiful pieces of equipment. And I love the fact that you can change these loadouts. Really quite nice. Some long legs on those babies indeed, indeed. Very, very capable aircraft. So this is one of the better scenarios, and I do find it I find it extremely interesting. I would actually recommend this one if you guys would like to try out something fortified. How is the AI playing as the Germans in these longer scenarios? I would recommend turning the difficulty up as much as you dare. At the end of the day, AI is AI. It is nowhere near as competent as a human player can be. But the AI in these games is actually quite able. It's very able at what it does. It can definitely put you on your ass if you're not careful. So, I think we're only a few moments away here from the end of the stream. Any final questions before I have to vamoose? Remember to show the depot creation. Yes, okay. So, for example, over here, can I actually do this while in this, let's see, Arlon. Okay, yes, what you need to do is you need to look for towns like this, town or just settlements in general. Not all of them are able to, but the most likely option is you choose over here, for example. It may be that they have to be on the rail lines. I will have to double check that one, but you would hit this button over here, and when you create a depot, you can change the depot priority. There we go. What might be the next series, possibly? Well, the next series I'm possibly looking at is one that is... Well, this is going to be a little bit of a sneak peek. So you guys need to bear in mind this may... Oops, I just opened up One West again. Didn't mean to do that. This may be a possibility. Would have to see about that. Okay, apologies on that one. Okay, so this is a sneak peek. Very much a sneak peek. It doesn't have to be set in stone, so we'll have to see. But the scenario I have in mind is going to be one I'm sure you guys will be mightily interested in. And I do plan on using Getting Greaseby's War in the East, potentially. Though we will have to see. Do they have to be on a rail line? Possibly, I would have to double check that one. So, let's see. Is this it? Yes, I'm looking at possibly the Vistula to Berlin scenario. Now, this would be one where we would actually... Indeed, the Eastern Front. So we could be very much looking at a defense of the Reich in the final months of the Third Reich's survival. So this is where we might be looking here in the future. If we take a look at these numbers are higher, significantly higher. This is very much an interesting scenario, and one where a lot can be done. So, that is a sneak peek of what may be coming in the future. If you guys would like to suggest something, then please let myself and Matrix know down below in the comments. So, thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I will see you all in the future. Goodbye for now. It has been fantastic. And if you guys would like to find more of my content, you can head over to my channel, XTRG on YouTube. And if you are interested in playing these games, you can find them on Steam, as well as the Matrix store. So thank you very much, guys. I hope you've all enjoyed this. Thank you so much for sticking with me. It has been quite the venture together. So if you could do me a favour and like the video, and comment what you would like to see in the future, that would be great. Until next time, goodbye.